In today's video, we're going to talk about why you struggle to sell packages and treatment plans at your med spa. I'm going to share the number one common thread that I see among my clients who successfully sell a lot of packages and treatment plans at their med spa, and the difference between that and the med spa owners that I speak with that really struggle to sell packages or treatment plans, because the conversation goes the same almost every single time. Someone will come to me and say, hey, we're really struggling to sell treatment plans or packages. We're getting plenty of leads, plenty of appointments, but people just don't seem to want to buy, right? Is it because the leads are low quality? Is it because Facebook ads don't work? Is it because XYZ reason? And my follow-up question to this is always, okay, well, what does your consultation process look like? And the way that their consultation process typically looks like is they start off by asking people what their concerns are or what they're there for. So that could be like, hey, what brought you in today? Or what motivated you to come in for your appointment? And then from there, after they get like a very surface level idea of what exactly their concerns are, they go, okay, gotcha. Here's our recommendation for fixing that problem. So someone comes in and they say, hey, I have wrinkles on my forehead. And then you go, okay, so you have wrinkles on your forehead. Here's what we typically recommend for people that have wrinkles on their forehead. And then after you make your recommendation, you go, would you like to buy? And then ideally they say yes, but most people are not just going to say yes immediately, and they're going to object, right? So they're going to say, this sounds really great, but I need some time to think about it, or I need to talk with my spouse, or this sounds like it's a little bit out of my budget, right? And this is the typical consultation process that I see most medical spas take. So what brought you in today? Here's our exact recommendation for that. That's the perfect solution for what you came in for. Would you like to buy, right? And logically, this makes sense to us because it's like, okay, you told me you have this problem. Here's what the solution is. Why wouldn't you purchase it, right? But this rarely ever works. The reason it doesn't work is because of something that's called the gap. So in your consultation, there's something called the gap. And the gap is the difference between where this person is currently, so what their current state is, how they feel. And you can see this is a sad face because their current situation isn't good. They want to improve something. And then it's the difference between that and where they want to be. So where they want to be could be, they want to look younger. They want to, XYZ 1, 2, 3 with your treatment, right? Whatever it might be. Well, the key here is that change only happens. So people only decide to move forward with the treatment plan or a package when the pain of staying the same, so where they currently are, is greater than the pain of making a change, right? Because in order to change, they have to pay you some money. They have to start visiting you. Maybe they have to go through treatments that are a little bit uncomfortable. And so only once the pain of their current situation is greater than the pain of them, making that change or taking out their wallet and buying, only when that happens, they will actually purchase. Okay. If they don't feel like their current situation, so where they are now, is that bad, then why would they ever invest in a full treatment plan? They have no reason to, right? And one of the things with aesthetic treatments is that a lot of the times it's a want more than it is a need, right? People don't necessarily need aesthetic treatments. However, that our goal is to help them understand that they do need these things. Most consultations are missing what I call the gap here, right? So this is the gap, the difference between where they are and where they want to be. And the bigger the gap is and the wider we can make this gap, the more urgency that they will feel and the more motivation they will feel to take action and buy a treatment plan or a package. But the issue is that if your consult skips over this, and if you don't help them truly see and feel this gap, then buying a package or a treatment plan, it feels optional. It doesn't feel like something they necessarily need to do. So they're just like, oh, I'll just stick with the introductory treatment for now. They'll say, I'll think about it. I'm just going to do this first session and see how it goes, so on and so forth. So why do most med spas struggle to sell packages? Well, the reason is because they lack a discovery process in their consultations and they jump straight to solutions. And so I think this is especially common, especially with doctors. I've noticed that this is pretty common, but most doctors and most medical spas or anyone who's running the consultation, they want to sell logically, right? So someone comes in and they say, this is my problem. And then you go, okay, well, based on that, this is your problem and this is what you need to solve that problem. Would you like to buy, right? And this is called selling with logic, right? Logically, it makes sense. If you have this problem and you want the solution, here's the solution. You should make a purchase, right? Now, the difference between logic selling is that we want to focus and shift towards emotion selling. So instead of saying, okay, here's your problem, here's the solution, you go, oh, okay, so this is your problem. tell me a little more about that. Like, give me some more details on exactly what that looks like. Because the truth is that with your consultation, people are going to buy with emotion and then they will justify with logic. So it's their emotion that is going to create this gap and also get them motivated or excited to buy a treatment plan or a package in the first place. And then after they've made the decision to buy, they'll justify it with logic. Like, oh, it seemed like it was good pricing and they had these good payment plans, blah, 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 right? These are the reasons that they tell their friends and family why they decided to make the purchase. But the true reason is the emotional reasons, like, hey, this is going to make me look 5 years younger and give me my confidence back when I'm, on the beach, or give me my confidence back when I look in the mirror, right? I want you to imagine that a doctor, you go to your doctor and you have some kind of symptoms for some kind of illness or something. And before you can even finish explaining your symptoms, they just go, okay, all right, here's a prescription for what you're describing. Take it for 6 months. You'd probably be pretty skeptical, right? You wouldn't really feel like they truly understood what you're dealing with. And that's exactly how most med spa consultations feel. They feel very surface level. And because of that, people don't feel confident in making a big commitment. They just feel like they kind of feel like you didn't truly understand their problem. So the good news with all of this is that this isn't, you can sell more packages or treatment plans without having to be a pushy salesperson. It's all about guiding the conversation in a way that helps the client truly see and feel why they need the full plan without you having to convince them of anything, right? And the great thing about that is that you can do this all through the questions that you ask people during your consultation, right? So there's no convincing. You don't have to put the hard sell on and try to persuade them of anything. You just have to ask the right questions that widen the gap. And so here's the gap again from where they are currently and where they want to be. We want to make their current situation as painful as possible while making their desirable situation as amazing as possible. And the way that we do that is by widening the gap by asking specific questions, right? And this will also help you so that you don't have to discount or beg people or try to push them into committing to something. So what does that actually look like? How do we widen the gap? Well, like I said, it's in asking the right questions. So in the beginning of the consultation, we want to ask them things like, hey, what motivated you to come in today? But you have to understand that you're likely going to get a surface level answer when you say, hey, what motivated you to come in today? They're going to tell you something that's very surface level. Oh, I have this problem. I have wrinkles on my forehead. I have some stubborn fat on my stomach, right? That's great, but we want to take it a step further. We want to go, oh, okay, you have some stubborn fat on your stomach. How long have you been dealing with that issue? Or how long have you been noticing that? Or when did you start to notice that was a thing? Gotcha. Okay. Have you tried any other treatments before, or is this the first thing that you're trying? Oh, okay. You have tried something before. How did that go? And they tell you how it went, and you go, oh, okay. It sounded like that didn't go super well. Tell me a little more about that. What was your experience like when you tried that before? Right? And then once we get deeper into the conversation and we built some rapport, we want to understand what would happen if this wasn't addressed. Like, what would happen if we wait 3, 6, 12 months and we leave this exactly how it is? How would that feel for you? What would that do for your confidence? So on and so forth. And again, these are the emotional questions that especially people that are more logic focused or logic based, especially like myself, it's harder to ask these questions, but these are the emotional questions that get people to take action in the first place. And now as a quick little trick as well, for questions like this that are a little bit more personal, it helps to soften by asking for permission to ask the question. So for example, you could be like, hey, would it be okay if I ask you a quick personal question? And they'll go, oh, sure. Yeah, that's totally fine. What's up? And you'll go, okay, well, the reason that I wanted to ask this is because obviously, like, we can help you get rid of the wrinkles on your forehead, or like we can help you get rid of the belly fat that you have. But at 123 Med Spa, we don't typically like to just solve like that surface level problem. Like, we want to make sure that we're truly solving something for you that means something to you in your life. So like, we can help you get rid of those problems, but we really want to make sure that we understand exactly what motivated you to want to do this in the first place. So what would you say that is for you? Like, would you say that it's like more of like a motivation thing, or what would you say is the biggest thing for you that's, motivating you to want to do this now, today, right? So you almost soften the question by asking permission to ask it in the first place. And asking these types of questions, like what would happen if this isn't addressed? Why is now the right time for you? So on and so forth. These are the emotional questions that get people to like feel that kind of like their stomach turn a little bit and go like, oh yeah, like this problem doesn't feel good. Like, I don't like this right now. And so I need to make a change, because otherwise I'm going to be sitting in this pain for the next 3, 6, 12 months, and I'm going to feel worse and worse and worse, right? And so bottom line here, I didn't want to make this video too long, but a lot of the times the biggest issue that I see in the consultation process is that most doctors and most medical spa owners or providers, they try to sell with logic by saying, okay, I understand your problem. Here's the solution, rather than selling with emotion. And the way you sell with emotion is by asking the right questions. And so I'd really take some time to think about the questions that you're asking people and how you're asking them to dig deeper than just the surface level problems, because ultimately it is that emotion that is going to get them to want to buy in the first place. Because people that feel understood are typically going to make purchases. And a lot of the times you don't even have to have the perfect solution. As long as they feel understood, they're going to feel motivated. And so I hope this video is helpful. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments, and I'll see you in the next one.